Hello and welcome to the 2018 Top Global Trends Impacting Franchises, brought to you by Remarkable Franchises, myself, Tracy Eaton, and alongside me, Yvette Sholdas. So welcome to everybody.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. So look, while there's little value in projecting too far into the future and constructing like a world that's not real 100 years from now, there is immense value in thinking about where opportunity might exist right now with the trends that are playing out in business and in franchising globally, and how you can leverage the opportunities for greater growth and sustainability in your franchise. The thing is, when you're looking at opportunity, the question you really, I think, should be asking is, what's next? What's coming next? And so that you can continually looking to be adapting and innovating and changing. There's a huge opportunity at the moment to, from the ground up, to leverage your franchisees, the people at the grassroots of your brand, of your network, because they're the ones that are collecting that intelligence for you that can influence decisions, identify opportunities and trends for your brands to really take advantage of. And plus, when you involve them, it has the added benefit of gaining their confidence, gaining their buy-in, gaining their contribution to outcomes that shift the culture in your franchise brands. So today it really is a matter of being able to innovate and adapt, or be left behind and perhaps even die. Relevancy really is the key. And if you're not focused on riding the waves of change as they come about, just like a surfer would paddle out and actually see a wave coming and then ride it rather than being dumped by a wave, or even worse, staying on the beach. It's really important that you do ride those waves of change and evolve your franchise so that you remain sustainable and actually stand the test of time, or else perhaps suffer the consequences. So today we, Remarkable Franchises, have pulled together our top trends. So the things that, in our opinion, we believe that these are already impacting franchising in Australia right now to varying degrees, and also to look at the waves that are building that we think will impact franchising in the future. So we'll run through briefly on the top 10, and then we'll hone in on 4 key waves that we really believe that brands need to be focusing on right now. So first of all, a little bit about us, who we are. So our vision at Remarkable Franchises is to be the voice of trust in franchising. We want to lead the way in franchise culture development, and we're really passionate about franchisee education, growth, success, and profitability. So we are social entrepreneurs. We're the founders, myself, Tracy Eaton, and of course Yvette Sholdas, who's there. So we're really focused on the global trends and how to evolve the franchise sector for future sustainability. We're really passionate about helping franchisees be more profitable and successful, and to develop their business and personal skills so that they can better leverage the successful brand that they've actually bought into, and better utilize the operations, systems and marketing that a franchise network avails them. So we use up-to-date best practice techniques with regards to learning and development methodologies and frameworks and techniques. And we love developing the business and personal skills of franchisees and their teams. We're passionate about teams, so that they really can make the most of the opportunity that they've invested in. So I started off training as a teacher and then moved into a corporate role in McDonald's Australia. So I've been coaching, mentoring and training for over 30 years. So I worked with McDonald's Australia for 10 years, so running stores and groups of stores, and then spent most of my time in the training department, developing and training managers and franchisees, and played a key role in McDonald's becoming a registered training organisation. So Yvette started her business journey at the ripe old age of 21. So that's when she first started, built, and then sold her first business, a driving school. And then she had a very long corporate career in financial services, primarily with MLC and NAB. She's a qualified project manager, and really in that financial services arena manage small and multi-million-dollar projects and programs both nationally and internationally on new product development, legislative change, and a whole range of different things. So since 2007, we've been working together. So after we ditched our corporate careers, we decided we would become business owners ourselves. And since then, in our various capacities, we've worked in probably over 40 different industries with small to medium enterprises and now franchises as well, training and mentoring to thousands of people in those various sectors. We've mentored franchisees and their teams to help market, to grow their business and develop their people. And also we've been global license holders ourselves. So we really have seen a lot of different things in corporate as business owners and in license holders as well in our own rights. So we really do like to contribute to people, contribute to the community. We regularly do articles, videos, publications, things like that, and develop programs like the Franchisee Education and Development Grant. And we really do believe in give back. So we're a lifetime member of Buy One, Give One, a charitable organisation, and we donate a percentage of all of our revenue towards global initiatives that support our give back goals and support also the United Nations global goals for sustainability. So our latest article can be found in the 2018 Business Franchise Directory, which is all about local area marketing and what's working now and what isn't. So that's just a little bit about us. Yvette.
And I guess the article, you will be able to find it by connecting with me on LinkedIn. It's available through our social channels.
Absolutely. Thank you. So let's get on to the waves. Yvette, I'll hand over to you for the first one.
Just before we do that, here I am supposed to be delivering slides and I'm not doing a very good job. Just to give you a quick snapshot, here are some of the brands that we've worked with throughout Australia. So it just gives you a bit of a snapshot of the extent of some of the industries we've covered just in the franchise sector alone. Okay, so wave one. Now these waves are global. There are some specific ones that are probably more relevant for Australia and franchising, hence we will focus on those towards the end and give more detail around them. But one of the biggest waves to come along in a very long time is the first wave, which is artificial intelligence and machine learning. So 2017 was a pretty momentous time for AI, where it really moved from hype into driving really unprecedented personalisation within marketing. So leading companies are really embracing AI to perform repeatable and redundant tasks and really process large amounts of data, not to avoid human interaction, but really to enrich it so that individuals can get an experience that is more relevant for them. So AI is really becoming the norm for practical consumer experiences. And, you know, just a simple, powerful example is Google Maps. You would notice that it seems to know about you without you even checking in. So Google Maps actually uses real-time data from our own phones, and it will pop up little bits of information and looks at your patterns of behaviour, and actually, just like it'll say the time to get home, because you've travelled that route regularly, it actually learns that when you're leaving this place, you go to that place. And it's like it tells me every time I pick up my child how the traffic is and how long it's going to take me to get back to my house. So expect to see more highly customised content delivery and automated customer-specific persona and lifestyles. So in terms of this trend, AI will continue to dominate change in how companies and franchises market, for brand awareness, how they attract customers, and also how they acquire and recruit franchisees. So you need to be engaging and interacting and not broadcasting. So using data and using artificial intelligence to use data to actually be very specific about how you engage your market. So we'll learn more about that in Wave 6, which focuses on the marketing side more in detail. So we're seeing a rise in the use of AI and bots tailoring for marketing, which enables the greater personalisation and customisation. It's actually providing a really great opportunity for efficiency and to save time. It's supporting a move towards assisted buying rather than directed sales, and allowing self-directed investigative buyer behaviour and lead generation, which means that you'll get less leads but more conversions. So it's really allowing buyers, whether they're franchisees or customers, to actually self-select and actually go through the qualification process and build the buying or the need to buy through AI. Is there anything I also need to talk about in terms of AI, Tracy? And, you know, we can go into the point of singularity where machines will become smarter than humans, but look, we'll leave that for another day. So moving on to Wave 2. Wave 2 we see is all about the rise of machines and automation. And so the key with this is the impact on jobs. So there's plenty of talk around the loss of jobs through automations and machine taking over roles. And then you've got the rise of the robot. So jobs won't exist. Whole industries are going to be hugely impacted with the rise of machines and automation. Things like anything that to do with memory, where like a lot of our school system, memory, literacy and calculation, that can be automated and will be done better by machines with AI. So what will become more important as this wave builds is self-awareness, self-mastery and self-expression. So all the softer skills and people and emotional kind of skills that a machine doesn't have the ability to actually cope with. We're seeing open source architectures improve systems integration. The result is leaner, more efficient and more capable approach to automation as we build better integrated services and systems. There'll be an improvement in performance, improvement in operational autonomy. They're all things that we'll start to see flow out of greater automation, aside from the loss of jobs and the change in terms of the job market and how consumers need to respond to that.
Actually, I'll just put in there.
Sure.
So with the loss of jobs, obviously that, and the media is really grabbing onto that, and you know, marketing fear around that. It's like, oh my goodness, robots are coming, our children won't have jobs. There will be jobs. There'll be plenty of jobs. It's just that the jobs that there will be are do not even exist yet, and we don't even know where they'll be as at this point in time. So once again, going back to that adaptability and innovation and the ability to spin on a 10-cent piece actually is becoming more and more important. There'll be plenty of jobs around, but they won't exist in a lot of them in the current industries or form that we know at this point in time. Thanks, Yvette.
Thanks, Tracy. So moving on to the next wave. In terms of Wave 3, it's pretty topical and popular conversation topic, blockchain and cryptocurrency. Now we see this, it will have quite a large impact over time on the franchise sector. Basically, blockchain is a virtual public ledger that records everything in a secure and actually transparent manner. So some of the risks in terms of integrity and quality and things like that will actually be resolved through the use of blockchain technology. In terms of the key areas within the franchise sector that I see blockchain technology supporting development and opportunity, is around supply chain management. So for supply chain management, the blockchain technology really offers the benefits of traceability and cost effectiveness. So really, just put simply, a blockchain can be used to track the movement of goods, their origin, the quantity, and things like that. This brings really about a new level of transparency in business-to-business ecosystems. It'll simplify processes in terms of ownership transfer, production process assurance, and even payments. So watch that space. In terms of quality assurance is another area. So with blockchain, if an irregularity is detected somewhere along the supply chain, a blockchain system can lead you all the way to its very point of origin, which can be very, very useful. This makes it easier for businesses to carry out investigations and execute the necessary actions to resolve it. A use case for this is really the food sector, where they're starting to track the origination, batch information, and other important details that are crucial to safety and quality assurance. So, even things like the temperature of a product as it flows through the supply chain, you can actually monitor things like that. And, there's products being tracked now. There's applications available now that you can actually scan products and see the track and see the and trace the whole process of from where it's been manufactured through to where it arrives on the shelves in supermarkets, for example. Another area is around accounting, so anything to do with record keeping, recording of transactions. Blockchain will virtually eliminate human error. It protects the data from possible tampering. Keep in mind that records are verified every single time they passed on from one blockchain node to the next. So the tracking it will be incredible. In addition to the guaranteed accuracy of records, the process will also leave a highly traceable audit trail. So you can see the value of that in the accounting arena. And particularly, in the franchise sector, there's plenty of franchises and support businesses within the sector that will be influenced by this trend. Another area is smart contracts. So time-consuming contractual transactions can bottleneck the growth of a business, especially for businesses that process a huge amount of communications on a consistent basis. So with smart contracts, agreements can be automatically validated, signed, enforced through blockchain, and it eliminates need for mediators and therefore saves the company time and money. So that could be really relevant in your business also. Moving on to wave 4. This one's a fun one. If you're into the gaming world, you're probably across this more than most. So VR, virtual reality, AR, augmented reality, and MR, mixed reality, which is a hybrid of virtual and augmented reality. So virtual and augmented reality technologies are really transforming the way we live and work. I see this in terms of what we do as being an opportunity for us to improve the experiences in terms of learning and areas like that, which we'll talk about a bit later on another way. This technology is really removing the distance between people, information, experiences. Location is no longer important with this type of technology. And interestingly, given how much time we spend on geolocation and space the past few years, it'll be interesting to see what happens as it rolls out. Right now, businesses see AR as a means of ticking an innovation box. And really in 2018, I think we'll start to see brands viewing AR software development as a long-term investment. AR technology can be used to stimulate a wide variety of benefits, like enhancing the efficiency of existing process, cost reduction, and the ability to generate lucrative new revenue streams. So finding the right way to measure the success of an AR project will enable technology to graduate beyond the realms of novelty apps like Pokemon Go, for example. I think we're going to see through immersive experiences, businesses can tap into the expertise of thousands of schools from everywhere or anywhere in the world. Across industries and applications, immersive experiences are pushing companies to not only think differently about what is possible, but also creating new solutions that bypass the distance-based challenges that we face in some sectors today. Already we're seeing brands putting the technology to work. One example is BMW provides an AR-driven exploration of its models. This lets people get inside the car to experience what it feels like to drive one. It provides an emotional connection that no other technology or marketing tactic has ever been able to deliver. And there are endless applications for AR, particularly in the marketing in terms of using this technology. We've also a similar, any sector that requires professional development points and things like that. There's a company in the UK that works with vets. They actually moved to online e-learning to support vets not having to leave their practice and take costly time out of their business or costly expenses to travel for professional development. And in the last year and a half, they've actually launched HoloVet, which is all about providing that augmented reality experience in terms of veterinary professional development as well. So we're really starting to see that happen, the experience within the training and education and development of people space. I think we'll also see it rising in terms of the whole lead generation and customer experience and that self-directed lead generation process. All righty. Wave 5.
Okay, so over to me.
Yes.
All right.
And I just want to say before we continue, I'm not usually the presenter, so this is actually probably pushing, I'm the researcher and developer and creator of products and trainings. I'm not usually the presenter, so I do apologise for my not less than perfect execution.
Yvette, you're very knowledgeable and very passionate about it.
I am.
So on to the next wave. And the next 2 waves that we'll cover off are 2, as I said, we're going to hone in on 4 waves specifically that we believe have the biggest impact in franchising at the moment in Australia. And waves 5 and 6 are actually 2 of those. So
and can I just, before you go on, can I just say, these also can have the biggest impact at the lowest level in your franchise as well. So this is where franchisees can start to get on board and learn and build their knowledge and expertise and actually implement some stuff at a local level that can make a difference as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. So wave 5 is all about the market of one. So this trend, it's all about personalization and customization. And so rather than looking at promotions as a broadcast to thousands, tens or hundreds of thousands, it's about really honing in your marketing so that it's pinpointing actually one person at a time and adapting and customizing for individual people. So the thing is, the future of successful promotions is that, and it allows your audiences to be meaningfully engaged, whether that's online or offline, in a really authentic, personalized, original and customized way. So it's not about appearing everywhere to everyone. If you're still doing that, that is the expensive way of doing things. And unless you're actually reaching the people who are directly likely to be interested in you and your brand and potentially become customers, so whether that's actually the consumer or potential franchisees, if you're broadcasting to everybody, it's coming across as really expensive and a little pointless as well. So marketing to a market of one, it's all part of entrepreneurship. And the thing is, marketing it's always about doing and tracking and improving. You've got to try things to know whether they've got to work or not. And the thing is, when you are trying things and you're customizing, just think of the channels that you are utilizing. The thing is, things like email marketing and traditional marketing like television and radio, they still can work, but to a lesser extent, more and more now. So email, for example, if you are still doing that, then make sure that you're not just blasting out, that you're personalizing, that you're looking at your customer base and segmenting that so that your message is very clear to the people that it's relevant to. So be careful with who you send what to. So things like SMS, MMS, obviously Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Instagram's becoming like the new newspaper, and YouTube, which is taking over, from TV. Look at who are on those channels and what is the most relevant message that you are actually giving to those people. And then, of course, emerging in business, you've got things like Snapchat and messenger marketing, that sort of thing. Voice search, which I'll talk about in just a second, is on the rise, and it's going to impact in a big way with regards to online marketing. So when you bring all of this with local searches, there's actually a significant impact on SEO that we use today. And I think, by 2020, I think 50%, it's expected that 50% of all searches will be voice searches, not type-in searches or thumb-in searches if you're using your mobile device, which of course just about everybody is. So that's really all about the market of one. So flowing on from that is moving on to wave 6, which is all about connected experience and the connected world. And as I mentioned, it's no longer about appearing everywhere to everyone, that being, more expensive and not as useful for you. It's really about humanizing the experience and creating that real relationship and friendship with customers, rather than just treating them as a transaction. It's about involving people, involving your customers, and personalizing to actually enhance the customer experience and help you actually design your customer experience. Saw a great slide, we've seen it many, many times, where businesses design the pathway that they want their customers to do. Or like when people walk, there might be a paved pathway, but if there's a cut through and you see through the grass, the treads where people, and there's actually a new path worn into the grass, it's because the users have actually designed their own experience that better meets their needs. So as franchisors, it's really important for you to take note of that and adapt the user experience to what people actually are wanting and actually are doing, whether you have designed it or not. It's really important to focus on the experience even before you spend a cent on marketing, because the people that are closest to the customer actually win. And so if you've got greater intimacy with them and relevancy, then you're going to be the one that is dominating, whether you're seeking to acquire a customer or retain a customer or recruit a new franchisee. It's always to start thinking about the experience that they might want and how you can then connect your marketing into that experience that your customers and franchisees might want, with the right messages, with the right offers, with the right information, and just as importantly, at the right time in the experience and the right point in that experience. Interestingly, and we'll get onto this in another wave as well, that attention is actually a new currency in marketing. It's not just about the end dollars that people actually spend with you. And people these days, customers, are not loyal to just one channel. It's really important for you to have what we call an omni-channeled strategy. And you need to understand that what got you to this point in your either short or very long franchise history probably won't get you where you want to be in the future. There are shifts all over the place. Now, there is currently quite a large shift in the online world from Facebook to Instagram. And obviously you need to know whereabouts your customers are and what channels that your customers are utilizing. But there is that shift from Facebook to Instagram. And Instagram has a lot of success now because they've added in video. And of course, people just love video. And we're also starting to see some similar activity to show on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is now enabling videos, which is appearing in feeds, and that's ramping up activity. We're also starting to see something called social shopping. So it's actually networked shopping. So in electronic commerce, it's referring to consumers who are using social networking services and sites to share their latest purchases, deals, coupons, product reviews, their wish lists, want lists, all of those types of things, and shopping finds. So actual sites where they can go and do that, rather than just through Facebook where they're sharing with their friends. So we're starting to see that as well. I mentioned voice search before, and people have gone, well, what's that? So just like you type in your Google search, obviously with things like, oh goodness, the names escape me, like Google Home. Yvette, what's that one that you've just got for Mother's Day?
Google Home.
Yeah.
And Alexis is another one.
Yeah. So Google
and
Home,
Amazon has one as well. So.
Yeah. And then of course, the Siri, the old-fashioned Siri. My goodness, she's old-fashioned now. Those voice searches are becoming more and more relevant, where people just talk what they want to find, and searches are done that way. And as I mentioned, by 2020, we expect that around 50% of all searches will be through voice searches. Snapchat's really emerging at the moment too, so you may want to have a look at the relevancy now of that in your business, or looking at how that may be relevant as it develops in the future as well.
And we're also seeing influencers, social influencers, playing a big role in marketing, and the move from macro influencers to micro influencers, where
we're saying influencers, so the people in social media who influence other people. So in the past, that would have been if you hired celebrities to help with your TV ads or radio ads and things like that. But these people are celebrities in their own rights, with their own group of followers. And as Yvette just mentioned, it was people with huge followings that brands were and companies were working with to then also promote their products, and often for a fee. But now with those micro influencers, so smaller groups, but often more engaged, more relevant, and a lot more cost-effective way of actually having like a brand ambassador for your business, with a smaller group of people who really are targeted and who are your ideal customers.
Yes, so social media influencers have really overtaken the celebrity sponsorship kind of world. And so there's a couple of other points I wanted to make on this section, if you're finished, Tracy.
Oh, look, I was just, as I said, it's the person that's closest to the customer wins. And, with data driving everything, and it should be driving everything, data's used to refine and personalize and actually help map that user experience. And sometimes that can be done almost in real time. And whether that's, the user experience of your customer or of your franchisee as well. So Yvette, please continue.
Yeah, so really one of the points I was going to make, the whole franchise recruitment process, it's changed. So similar to the consumer behaviour, franchisee behaviour is different. So really having a process where they can research and your franchise and go through a self-directed process. While you may not get as many leads, you will get more leads ready to buy and convert more. So relevancy is really key now. People with lists don't dominate in a particular niche. People really want greater intimacy and connection, and they're not just about it's not just about creating new leads, it's about really building that greater intimacy. And that's really focused on humanising your content and you can do that by being more personal with people. You mentioned trust, attention and trust being the new currency. Really, people are overwhelmed with so many messages. They really want, and the value is that personalised, customised experience. They want deep attention. And that's really something you can trade on. So really getting close to the customer and really engaging, connecting and creating that interactive environment is really key.
Thanks, Yvette. And you mentioned that word trust. I mean, that's so important to us. I mean, trust is a currency these days. And the thing is, the asset that is developed through trust is loyalty. So let's move now on to the 7th wave. So wave 7 is the 4-lane economy. So the thing is, these days, everything and everybody is moving super fast. Everybody is in the fast lane and has so much going on that in order to have people want to know about our brand, buy from our brand, we need to be able to slow people down. So let's talk about those 4 lanes. And of course, years ago, there was just a 1-lane, it was just a 1-lane economy where if you had a product that was a good product and you had a reasonable offer, you'd show people, you know, door-to-door salesmen would rock up with their vacuum cleaner. They'd be invited in because everybody's got time to invite somebody in. They'd do a demonstration. And if that person was needing a vacuum cleaner, then guess what? They'd be buying a vacuum cleaner. These days, that sort of thing just doesn't happen. We're all too much in a rush. So let's talk about the 1st lane. So with the first lane, it's actually slowing people down enough to show you and give you their attention. So these people are your followers. So, and look, largely we are talking about online here. The same does apply offline, but I'll relate it a little more to online. So the 1st lane is creating followers by slowing them down enough to give you attention. So these are people that might look at your ads or your posts or your pictures and actually like them, and they may actually share them and actually have a scroll through and a look. That's all they are doing. They are not spending money with them. Often you may or may not know who they are. So they might actually look, but then once they actually like or share, obviously you'll see that they're doing that. The 2nd lane. The 2nd lane is that we need to slow people down even further to develop into liking you enough that they move from becoming followers to your community. So these people actually pay you with their time. So they've moved from attention to actually giving you their time. They've decided that you're worthwhile enough to actually watch what's going on in your business, maybe to watch a video, maybe to download something, maybe even to comment on things that your business is doing. And they're actually giving you their time, which of course is very valuable. To take the next step, we need to slow them down further. And this is where people go from becoming a community member to what we call a prospect. So when people become your prospects, it's where they actually are going to give you a decision. So a yes, a no, a maybe. And they do this maybe by opting into your website. Giving you their name or their mobile or their email to be able to download something. So before we were talking about watching a video or a download where you don't have to put your personal details in. When they actually choose to give you some of their personal details, that's when they're moving to become a prospect, and they're giving you some sort of decision, which may or may not be a buying decision. It's the decision to consider you. So be really clear about that. So a prospect is making the decision to consider you. And then finally, when we've slowed them down enough, this is where someone becomes a client or a customer, which is when they give you money. So that's why sometimes things seem like they're going a lot slower or taking a lot longer for things to happen. It's because it is. Like traveling from A to B now takes a lot longer because traffic's a lot busier. It's exactly the same with getting someone to become a customer or a client. You've got to take them through those steps. Some of them may move through really fast, but it is a much longer process, and because it requires the things that they can't get back, like their time. Everyone's bombarded. They have thousands of marketing messages every day. And once again, that's why that broadcast is pointless nowadays, because you just annoy people. It really needs to be targeted. And, you know, as Yvette said, you know, the success in consumer marketing is not very different to franchise marketing for recruitment. You know, it's around that self-directed lead generation. And look, you might want to also have a look. I mentioned the latest article in the 2018 franchise directory about local area marketing. That was written at the end of last year, and it's already been updated from 3 to 4 lanes. So at the end of last year, we were still in a 3-lane economy. We've now shifted already to a 4-lane economy, and doubtless we'll probably end up going to a 5 or 6-lane economy as time progresses. So, you might want to go through that article and you'll really see the shift from the old, direct marketing style to the way things are working now. So on that, let me hand over to Yvette to take you through the next wave, Wave 8.
Yes, and before I move on to Wave 8, I did want to say that while you've got these multiple channels where you've got to create a connected experience, you need to be mindful that you've got to take customers on a journey through these lanes. So, yeah, they might skip quite quickly through them, but generally people won't give you their time if they haven't already given you attention. They won't make a decision unless they've given you time, and they won't spend money with you until they've got to the point where they've given you attention, time, and made that decision.
And of course, as I said, that really relates, like we talked about online there, but it's exactly the same offline. They need to give you attention, time, and make that decision. And they require that attention and time from you as well.
And really, we keep harping, though, the person who's closest to the customer wins. The more you know about your customer, the more you know about your franchisees, the more you're getting down and collaborating and listening to them, the more value to you in terms of the way you can innovate and build a sustainable franchise that will stand the test of time. So moving on to Wave 8, this is one of my favourites. It's definitely something that underpins everything that we do at Remarkable Franchises. It really is fundamental to how we operate and work in business and work with people that we partner with to support in running their businesses and growing their businesses. So the collaborative world is really looking at 3 key things in my mind. It's the sharing economy, so you may have heard about that, collaboration, and the move towards more partnership-based opportunities that drive greater outcomes, the sum of the parts is greater than the whole kind of theory. And the third thing is outsourcing, so not having to have everything under your own banner or doing it all for yourself. So one of the key driving forces behind the sharing economy is millennials. We'll get on to millennials, and that's kind of fits into one of our waves too, and what the impact of that. So businesses looking to get involved in the sharing economy, one of the most important components to keep in mind through the process is trust. So really sharing services like Uber and Airbnb, probably the most common that we know about today, they've become really successful not because they developed an efficient, easy-to-use platform or because they feel a large demand, but because they've focused on creating platforms people feel safe and secure using. So if you're going down a pathway like that, trust is the key. So, and as more people around the world become connected using smartphones, transaction costs associated with using the shared services really are only expected to decrease. So in the world of margin pressure, finding ways to manage costs through collaboration and sharing we're going to see that rise. So and look, we're going to see an increase in demand for these types of services, shared services by millennials and across other generation too. There's some facts I have here around the whole sharing economy, and that's expected to grow about 14 billion which it was in 2014 to 335 billion in 2025. So it's a huge opportunity. Most successful businesses in the future will be based around the idea of sharing and collaboration, which is why it's such an important thing to get your head around in your franchise now. Existing businesses are going to need to be adaptable to remain relevant. We've talked a lot about relevancy. Relevancy really underpins a lot of these waves that we've talked about. And we'll need to remain focused on providing authentic, personalised experiences to customers and franchises. So while the concept of sharing economy may seem like a temporary buzzword, there's no doubt that the demand for it, for shared and collaborative services, are really here to stay. In terms of outsourcing, being able to have the right resources in your franchises and have the right expertise. So we've talked about the market of one and greater personalisation and customisation. We've talked about the connected experience, and we've talked about the 4-lane economy. Tracy shared some trends in terms of marketing, digital and otherwise. Now, with all these changes and the rapid pace of change, to be experts across all this, it's quite difficult. So what we're seeing is a shift towards outsourcing, where outsourcing or sharing resources, where you can actually build a team of part-time or casual people or outsourced people that provides the expertise you need in a much more efficient and cost-effective way, where you can learn from each other and keep up to date and be able to innovate more agilely as well. So we're seeing this play out in franchising, in marketing, in franchise development, third-party systems, learning management systems. Some brands that we've worked with through the use of technology and outsourced partners are really meeting the needs of their franchisees, but also creating efficiency. So things like quality assurance audits, they can be outsourced. Mystery shopping, if you've got a business or franchise that warrants that. Learning and development, coaching and mentoring, the whole development side with your franchisees, there's opportunity to outsource, to share, to collaborate, and actually get a much higher quality and level of expertise than you would otherwise be able to afford in your franchise.
Yeah, Yvette, I'd just like to add in there, with think of it sometimes like plugins. So like Xero or MyOb has lots of different things they have that actually, and lots of other companies that actually plug into Xero or MyOb to create greater usability and effectiveness, and once again personalization for different companies. And the thing is, with franchises, franchises do a great job of providing, the operational training and systems and support, and the marketing and things like that. And the thing is, though, for franchises to continue to be cost effective, they need to stay quite lean, from the head office perspective. So it's not actually possible, without adding great expense, to be able to provide everything for the franchisee. But yet, rather than relying on franchisees to go and find their own support people to help them outside of the franchise as well, you can actually use different companies as plugins and resources, as Yvette was saying, for your franchisees to get something that the franchise company doesn't have the resources for and doesn't want to actually add the on costs of adding expert employees, with all the costs of salaries and superannuation and benefits and payroll tax and insurance and all of those other things. So, just like, Xero and MyOb, as I mentioned before, there's plenty of areas that you can plug in with regards to development, local area marketing and the like.
Awesome. Okay. So moving on to wave 9. So we're getting down to the pointy end here, where we're almost through our waves. So this wave is all about work anywhere and learn everywhere. So, and this ties in with the whole future of work as well. With working from anywhere, people are looking for more mobility in terms of work. They're working. Just a minute, I've just got to grab my notes. Yeah, so being able to work from anywhere, people are wanting more flexibility in that space, and we're seeing more and more businesses enable that. And in terms of franchises, we've seen that happen with the huge rise in mobile franchises. There's an opportunity with busy consumers that are outsourcing many parts of their lives. It's enabled people to actually buy themselves a job effectively, take control of their own employment, and get the flexibility and mobility within their roles that they are after. So we'll continue to see that evolve, and we won't go into some of the other kind of particular things that focus on that. What I do want to focus more on in terms of learning from everywhere. So with the speed of change, it's not possible to keep up using linear learning. So there's a new trend and wave building where, and look, this has been around for a while. We're not seeing it adopted to a great extent in the franchising sector yet, but this is definitely something that is happening where this connected or social learning is kind of giving us the opportunity for many to learn from many and really ramp up our development, keep pace with change, and not rely on one person to deliver it. And we're seeing this flow out in the education system as well. So really, I wanted to focus in on the key trends in terms of learning and development. So every year brings new developments in this area, just like a lot of the other waves we've talked about. Again, personalisation is playing a key part in terms of learning and development of franchisees and learning and development of employees as well. So there's things like personalisation, so personalised learning paths are really at the top of the list of trends. And this is really due to the fact that one size doesn't fit all. And it's enabling to improve the learning experience so we can tailor individually and personalise it. So there is a trend also to bite-sized learning and bite-sized support resources. And this is actually really, we're seeing through online and evolving learning management systems enabling this to be easily implemented in a really cost-effective way. So if you don't have time to sit through a half-hour online training course, it's these bite-sized learning where we can go in, do the learning, move on, and then get on with the next thing. Learning management systems are enabling a lot more robust reporting and analytics, so we can start to see the value of, and using the statistics, we can see the trends, we can see learning behaviours, we can adjust and adapt to keep the engagement high for people that are learning. It's similar to website stats and big data. The more information you can gather, the more you can customise and personalise to actually create a learning experience that engages the learner and supports them in whatever means that they need to be supported. The systems out there, so technology is playing a huge part in the learning and development space with platforms evolving all the time and enabling on and offline learning, tracking of that, we're going to see more and more gamification, where badges and points and leaderboards are used to incentivize learners. So it's really to actually engage them and keep them interested in development. The big one for me in this area is really around collaborative learning. So really enabling platforms that enable people to learn socially, so to connect socially on platforms and actually support each other in their learning. The whole peer-to-peer learning will evolve, and this is particularly in your network, where as you expand and grow, the capacity of the operational team and the support team doesn't necessarily need to grow if you actually have a very sound platform to manage your learning and also to enable that social and peer-to-peer engagement. So that's some of the key areas. Oh, and of course, the virtual and augmented reality, we're going to see that come into learning too. So you can imagine how induction training is going to evolve, ongoing development of franchisees is going to evolve, the time it takes to actually engage them. It's going to be more seamless using technology like this, like we're doing now. There'll be more short snapshots, short learning snapshots rather than lengthy day-long training courses. So it actually really suits this modern pace of society and pace in business where we are time poor. Do you have anything else that I've missed on the learning everywhere, Tracy?
No, not at all. And I guess the only other thing is that whilst learning has changed, the one thing that hasn't is that learning is important and people must continue to learn and develop, ongoingly. It's not enough to do, your induction for a franchisee at least, it's not enough to do your induction, no matter how short or how lengthy that is, and then, a couple of a course a year or a course every 2 years. Learning needs to be ongoing, just like the adaptability and flexibility needs to do that as well. Because with that 4-lane economy that's increasing and that pace of change, the speed is increasing, meaning that the amount that we need to continue learning actually is increasing as well. And that's once again why bite-sized pieces are becoming more and more relevant, because people can take that on board, learn it and implement it straight away. Because the thing is that when they go and do another bite-sized piece of learning in a week's time, a month's time, 3 months' time, or a day's time, information may already have changed. And so with the bite-sized learning, it enables the learning to be adaptable as well, and not just have a course that stays the same for 3 years and is completely out of date.
Yeah, and I guess I was going to say something. It's just slipped my mind, but I think I'll trigger again on your next one, because it does tie in with the whole individualness of people and how to cater for that.
Okay, thanks, Yvette. So let's move on to the 10th wave. And this, of course, is around the millennial movement and the mass that are the millennials. So first of all, you go, well, who are the millennials? You hear about, oh my God, these millennials, and oh my goodness. Millennials basically are people that are born sort of anywhere sort of after 1980. So it's what we used to call Gen Y and sometimes then Gen Z. So typically they are the millennials. And the thing is that they're the largest generation yet. At the moment, there's already 2.5 billion of them on the planet, and that's only going to increase. And the thing is, we go, why do they matter? Aren't they just a pain in the neck? Young people these days. Well, the thing is, as companies, franchises need to get over that and really embrace the millennial masses, because by 2020, 50% of the workforce will be millennials. And by 2030, we expect it to be 75% of the workforce. And we're not just talking about the workforce, we're talking about your up and coming franchisees. So franchise brands must adapt the ways that they do things to attract and keep millennials, because they are the future of work and they are the future of the success of your franchise brands moving forwards. So the thing is, millennials do have new and different attributes from previous generations, like the baby boomers and like Gen X. So they have different expectations and they have different ways of working. They actually have very high expectations and they're very achievement oriented. And for them, leadership is something, and respect of leaders in the business is something that has to be earned. It doesn't just come because they have a boss. That does not earn respect. It really must be earned by the millennials for them to grant that it's worthwhile giving to somebody. Now, these people too, they've grown up alongside, not only alongside technology, but the younger ones too, they're what are called net natives or digital natives, because their entire life they've grown up with the internet, with mobile phones, with mobile technology. So they really have grown up in a totally different way from other generations. They really do have dominance in the social channels like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, LinkedIn, and they're on social media and they're on devices almost the entire time, which you've probably noticed as well. So they really do want to make a difference too. See, the millennials, they don't go to work so that they can earn a living, so they can have a life. For them, work and life need to be integrated. And if they feel that work isn't worthwhile or doesn't actually enhance their life, and I don't just mean by money, then one, they won't be engaged at work, but actually before that, they won't even bother applying for the jobs in the first place if they don't think that the work actually is purposeful and has meaning. So therefore, with this, with the millennials, and obviously now there's a much bigger cross-generational workforce there, it's more than ever that leadership and that soft skill development is now ramping up focus. And not just because of the new way of the new generations coming through and the future of work, but also because of the rise of the machines and that artificial intelligence that is ramping up significantly. This is where the humanness is absolutely vital to the sustainability of businesses and of franchise brands. So developing that leadership and those soft skills are absolutely, they're not just a nice to have anymore, or it's at the cycle that we're back to soft skills again versus number. This is the thing that really is at the heart and soul of success, to enable humans to actually continue to progress. So, that's employees and in fact franchisee engagement as well. And stemming from that, something else, as you can see, we're very passionate about this part, with all the leadership and soft skills and trust that we've mentioned. But the thing is, the other thing that we absolutely believe is vital to move forward is and I mentioned heart and soul, but it's that franchise culture that can set standards of behaviours, standards of integrity, standards of moving forwards, whether they're actually by design or by default. That franchise culture and having the people, the franchisees and the employees bought into that culture actually facilitates your success, and it's also facilitated through that social learning. So there's just a little bit about the change in workforce and the different cross-generational workforce that we have.
And the other thing I wanted to mention, so in terms of millennials, they don't want a boss, they want a coach. They don't want to be managed, they want to be developed. So there's a real shift in terms of how you deal with these people, and also they want to be treated as an individual in their own right. And so they have their own unique personalities. They want you to deal with them in a personalised way. And that's one of the key things, I think, in terms of franchisee development, is really how can we individualise learning pathways for each type of franchisees. They're a unique mix of age and all the kind of belief systems and differences in terms of their age and the generation they're from, their personalities, their skills, their experience. And it's about individualising the development pathway and learning of each franchisee to enable them to actually grow in the areas they need to and be supported in a way that them as an individual need. And so this is where we're going to see learning and development change quite significantly, I believe, in the next 2 to 3 years. We're going to see more online engaged, more social learning on platforms, and using platforms and some of the world's leading platforms like Docebo as a learning management system that enables the social capacity of learning to happen along the way, and to really individualise it and modulise the learning for each of the individuals.
Great, thanks, Yvette. So I don't have anything more on these trends. Yvette, I might hand over to you we've spoken quite a lot about the 4 that we've done, but I'll hand over to you to continue that.
Sure. So like we talked about, the 4 key waves, the market of one, the connected experience, the what was the next one?
The collaboration.
The collaborative world, and the work from anywhere, learn from everywhere and everyone. They're kind of the key philosophies and trends that we're seeing really evolve. And given where we spend most of our time in our business, it's really around the culture of the franchise, how you can design that, develop it, embed it, and actually shift culture, track it, monitor it. So, with technology, this is being enabled more and more with apps and gamification that really engages and gets your employees and your franchisees involved in that process. Franchisee education there, and individualising that, providing learning pathways that are individualised for each franchisee, providing platforms and systems that enable efficient, cost-effective training and development and mentoring over time. So we're seeing a ramp up of that, and enabling that through the collaboration and outsourcing is really key. So really, thanks for watching. I hope you've got something of value out of this session. One thing, we do want to provide anyone that is interested an opportunity to talk more individually about your franchise network and your brand. And to do that, we will post a link in this video to enable you to book an appointment directly with us, where we can actually have a chat about your specific circumstances and really dig into what strategies and opportunities you have to actually ride some of these waves. So, Tracy, did you want to say?
No, just thank you very much, everybody. I'm sure that you have got some value from this, and I really hope that you think about how these waves may already be affecting your franchise brand and your franchisees, and the ways that they may in the future as well. And as Yvette said, we invite you to have a chat with us where we can help you out and discuss some of the things that are going on in your franchise, because we love doing that sort of thing. And of course, it's a no obligation talk with us. We just like sharing and helping and learning more about businesses as well. And Yvette will pop up the details. Of course, you can pop over to our website if you want to have a bit of a look about us. So that's remarkablefranchises.com.au. And on the website, of course, you'll find our contact number and email address to get in contact with us as well. Thank you so much, and good evening to all of you.
And we say cheers to the future.